Hi there. As I'm sure you're very aware, high school is known as a time filled with challenges and tough decisions. But one tough decision that goes on every day in high schools across the province that you probably haven't thought too much about is that faced by the manager of your high school cafeteria. Here, let me show you what I'm talking about. To help explain this tough decision, let's take a look at one of the staples of every high school cafeteria, the cheeseburger. So what is this challenge faced by high school cafeteria managers anyway? Well, it boils down to something called equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity. Now those terms are probably unfamiliar to you. However, they're going to be very, very important for everything throughout this activity. So let's try to explain them here now through the challenges faced by the manager of your high school cafeteria. And it all boils down to cheeseburgers. Let's start to look at this challenge by examining price. Now, if the cafeteria manager sets the price too high, students will think this isn't a good value and they won't buy the cheeseburgers. They'll look to other alternatives, bringing their own lunch, buying something else. And if, however, they set the price too low, well, then they're not making any money and they'll go out of business. So that's a problem as well. So somewhere in there, finding that right balance, that's the challenge. And what they're looking for is the equilibrium price. However, the challenge isn't just finding the right price. The challenge is also deciding how many cheeseburgers the cafeteria should prepare each day for lunch. And this is trickier than you think. Let's take a look at an example. Let's say that the cafeteria prepares a whole bunch of cheeseburgers for lunch one day, and not all of these cheeseburgers sell. What happens to the leftover cheeseburgers? Well, unlike chocolate milk or bottled water, they can't keep these cheeseburgers around to the next day. Who wants to eat a day-old cheeseburger? So, unfortunately, all these cheeseburgers get thrown into the garbage. But the cafeteria has spent money purchasing the resources to make those cheeseburgers. As a result, they are out. So, they do not want to make too many cheeseburgers because it costs them money. Well, let's say because of throwing all those cheeseburgers away, the next day the cafeteria staff decides to play it safe and produce a lot less cheeseburgers for lunch. What are the implications of that? Well, if students show up and all the cheeseburgers are gone because they didn't make as many, that's not good for the cafeteria either, because those students who were expecting to be able to buy their lunch will start to look at other options. Perhaps they'll head up the street to other restaurants, maybe they'll bring their own lunch, and as a result the cafeteria will miss out on potential sales. So they don't want to make too few either. So what do they really want to happen? Well, what does the cafeteria staff want then? Well, it might seem obvious, but they want a situation where every cheeseburger they produce gets sold, and no customers show up and go away unhappy because there were no cheeseburgers left. This is what we call the equilibrium quantity. So this magic point occurs when two things happen. First, you have to have the right price. We call the equilibrium price. It can't be too high so that nobody wants to buy it. And it can't be too low where our business, our cafeteria, isn't going to make any money. Once that price gets set, there's a right number of cheeseburgers where everyone who wants one will get one and no one goes away unhappy. And that's the equilibrium price and the equilibrium quantity. They're going to be very important to you throughout this activity. So if you get confused with those terms, come back and maybe watch this video again. Hopefully it helps you out. Good luck.